Welcome to Next to Madison, a podcast to help you live your best life.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Next to Madison. I'm your host, Madison Malloy, and on this episode, we are talking about gut health. We hear it talked about more and more and more because the importance of having a healthy gut has proven to improve your life in all areas. They do say that all disease starts in the gut. So if you don't have good gut health, then you're more prone to disease. And on this podcast, we aim to make you happier, healthier, and wealthier. So we are focusing on the healthy aspect of it. When you get your health right and your body working properly, it goes into feeling happy and then having the confidence and the happiness to then create more money and opportunity. So it all goes together. So I'm very excited. This guest was on our podcast about 2 years ago talking about gut health, but she's coming back on because I think it's very important, especially the holidays. We just finished Thanksgiving and we're going into Christmas and New Year's. So people's diets are definitely off. And a lot of people are just saying, you know what, I give up. I'm going to wait till the new year. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're like me and you just gorged yourself over like Thanksgiving and you're just feeling kind of blah, this episode's going to be for you. I'm somebody that is always on the go. I don't really cook. I don't have time to cook. And I need these quick tips and tricks that are going to help reset my gut so I can get my energy levels back, my bloating down, all that stuff. So if you are a human being, which all of you are because you're listening, this episode is for you. So we'll be right back after this brief message with our guest.
Hey, it's Madison Malloy. I'm excited to announce that my new book, Time to Lighten the Fuck Up, is now available online and in stores. You can pick up your copy today by going to Amazon or barnesandnoble.com. This new book is a humorous self-help guide to help you remove the obstacles that are holding you back so you can take things less seriously and live a more enjoyable life. I'm so excited for you to read it. Now back to the show.
We are back with our amazing guest on this episode where we are diving into all things gut health, but simplified. So you have zero excuses not to get your gut health on track. So that being said, I'd like to welcome the special guest on this episode, Fairy Gutmother, aka Carley Smith. How are you?
Hi, good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. I think this is so important. And I was saying in my intro, like we're in between the major holidays, right? So yes. A lot of people at this point have just said, fuck it, I'll deal with it in January, right? But I don't think that's the right move.
Right. No, it's not. And so this is so important to be talking about because, you know, you can still enjoy the holidays and have moderation in there. But, you know, that way you're not looking at January, February and like, oh my gosh, you're digging yourself out of a massive hole. So, you know, it's good to just be proactive now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the first thing I want you to kind of cover is why gut health is so important.
So this is where nearly our entire immune system is located. So when you think about, you know, your body's ability to fight off infections or illness or just maintain optimal health is really located in the gut. Plus lots of diseases can be traced back to the gut, autoimmune conditions, allergies, even skin allergies, food allergies. So really the gut is the foundation for our health. And when you think about gut health, it's kind of this two-part process. It's healing and sealing the gut lining and then maintaining this optimal microbiome or that balance of good bacteria and fungi in the gut.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Because I think, you know, people tend to consume foods that are actually bad for them or they're allergic to and they don't know.
Yes.
Like lactose is a big one.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's not necessarily that these foods are bad. It's just if the gut is compromised, we have a hard time digesting it. So it's a couple things. It's one, we're probably not consuming these foods in their necessarily properly prepared form. And then two, the gut is compromised. So it has a hard time digesting these foods. So let's take grains, for instance. Like most of us have a really hard time digesting grains. Grains aren't necessarily bad for the gut. It's just one, we're probably consuming them in their not so properly prepared form. So a very processed form, refined grain. And then two, our guts are compromised. So it has an even harder time breaking it down. So to mitigate this, we'll heal the gut. And then you can start slowly incorporating those foods back in your diet, but in a better quality.
Interesting. Okay. So a lot of people tend to start their day with oatmeal.
Yes.
So if you have a compromised gut, that's probably a horrible thing to be eating.
Well, so there's really not a one size fits all approach. So, you kind of have to be your own guinea pig in a way. And I tell people the gut is like a thumbprint, it's completely unique to you. So, although if you do have a compromised gut, sometimes, yes, oatmeal can be very hard to digest. So, you might opt for something else in the morning that might be a little bit easier for the gut, even though it doesn't sound completely appetizing. But on a gut healing protocol, a lot of my clients will do something with bone broth. So, maybe have like a soup in the morning. So more kind of like thinking along the lines of brunch, not necessarily breakfast, but also incorporating a digestive enzyme is really helpful. That just helps to break down your foods a little bit better. So if you are having, oats, they're great. They're a great source of protein, lots of minerals. I'm a fan of them, but if the gut is compromised, you might think about opting for something else, or maybe taking a digestive enzyme to help you break down those foods a little bit better.
So how do you know if your gut is compromised?
So you'll feel it. Number one, definitely a red flag is, having digestive issues, bloating, gas, and especially after you eat. So that might be, like you're sensitive to certain foods. That's number one. But there's also other things that could be gut issues that you might not necessarily think are related back to the gut. So skin issues, food allergies or food intolerances. And there's a difference there. So, a food allergy is like you eat peanuts and you have to go to the hospital. A food intolerance is more like, you eat grains or dairy and your tummy feels upset afterwards. And then again, that's where you likely have some sort of compromised gut that you need to heal the gut. And then you can start to reincorporate some of those foods again, once the gut is healed. But you'll definitely notice the feeling that you have after you eat if the gut is compromised.
So how long does it typically take to heal the gut?
That's a really good question. And again, it goes back to the gut being a thumbprint. It's unique to you. I generally recommend for a lot of my clients, take however long you haven't been feeling well and give yourself at least that amount of time to get better. Now, if you've been having gut issues for several years, don't be alarmed. That doesn't mean that what is going to take me 30 some years to get better. No,
I might be dead by the time it heals.
No, don't be alarmed. It doesn't mean it's going to take that much time, but my point is that you have to give yourself that time to heal. That doesn't mean that you're not going to feel better in a short amount of time, because the gut is very resilient. The microbiome can change within 24 hours of making, any changes to your diet or routine. So it is very resilient. That's a great news. But, for long lasting changes, you really do have to give yourself some time.
So perfect. And what digestive enzymes would you recommend?
I love the ones from this company called ZenWise, and you'll see them promoted on my page a lot. I'm a huge fan of their enzymes. It's a very comprehensive enzyme. So my favorite one is No Bloat, and that has several enzymes in there that's going to help you break down your fats, proteins, and your carbs. But also it has a probiotic in there, and it's a spore forming probiotic, which is basically like a dead probiotic. And it travels through the whole entire digestive tract, and it doesn't really become alive until it hits the gut. So it actually gets to where it needs to get. And probiotics are important because those also help you break down your foods. Probiotics basically consume fiber in the gut. So not only does it have a nice blend of several enzymes breaking down all your foods, but it also has that probiotics in there and some other nutrients that are going to help to relieve a lot of that bloating and discomfort after eating.
Okay, so do you take this before every meal or just like in the morning?
I take it with each meal. So especially the larger meals. Yes. So, if you're having like a snack, it depends on how compromised the gut is. If you have a severe gut issue and you are feeling bloated after every meal, then you'll want to take it with each meal. But, if you're snacking or something throughout the day, you don't necessarily need it. But with larger meals, absolutely. And especially when you travel or you're going to be eating foods that you don't necessarily eat. This is why it's so important during the holidays, because, we're going to holiday parties and eating all these different things and drinking alcohol and sweets and all the things that the gut probably doesn't really like. But incorporating an enzyme is going to be very helpful in breaking down those foods. So that'll help to kind of mitigate some of those side effects from those foods.
So that is good to know. I've been I've been in New York promoting the book and constantly going out to business meetings and all these different things. So I've been eating like crazy. I mean, the other day somebody was like, "You're not pregnant, are you?" And I'm like,
Oh no.
"Fuck you. No, I'm not pregnant. Thank you. I'm bloated and I ate like a dumpster fire. Okay." Leave me alone. They're like, no, you don't, but like you look, and I'm like, I'm bloated. Leave me alone.
Right. Well, and for a lot of people too, I mean, it's like one of those things that's fine in the morning and you have a sip of water, or, you breathe and all of a sudden you're bloated. So that's the most frustrating feeling ever. But that's why I swear by digestive enzymes, and that's really the gut health is actually quite simple. And that's what I really want to get across to people, that the foundations of gut health, the pillars of gut health are really quite simple. Most of us have too little stomach acid as compared to too much. Plus, our digestive enzymes decrease as we age, starting at the age of 20. And anytime you go on medications or stress, those are also going to weaken the digestive enzymes. So incorporating a digestive enzyme into your routine can be extremely helpful, and it will really help to mitigate some of those side effects that you're feeling, like that bloating and discomfort after eating. So just little tiny changes like that make a big difference.
So it's going to help you obviously rid the waste as well.
Correct. Yes, it'll help you digest your foods a little bit better, and then that way, as it passes through the system, you'll tend to be more regular. Plus, it incorporates probiotics in there as well. This specific ZenWise brand that I really like, probiotics will help you be more regular as well. If we want to talk about regularity, another thing that people kind of forget about is hydration. That's a really big part of constipation, and especially during the holidays, you're on the go, or maybe you're drinking alcohol or lots of coffee, things like that are going to be a little bit more dehydrating. So making sure that you're drinking at least half your body weight in ounces of water per day. And then you can always add in a little bit of electrolytes to your water. That helps to just make sure that you're properly hydrated. Another thing I love incorporating during the holidays is bone broth. That's for several reasons. We can also talk about that as it relates to bloating and digestive discomfort. But bone broth is wonderful for hydration because you're really extracting all of those nutrients out of the bones, the vitamins and minerals, plus the collagen and the cartilage. That's great for the gut lining, but those vitamins and minerals are essential for hydration too. So hydration is key during the holidays.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And in the holidays too, when you're going to all those parties, you're consuming a lot more cheese. And I always joke with people when I'm at a party and I start eating too much cheese. I'm like, I better stop. I'm not going to shit for a month. Like this will lock you up.
Exactly. But that's the thing, is like when you kind of know the other things to offset what you're doing, it can be really helpful. So like, those enzymes, your probiotic, incorporating broth, and then you can even do like magnesium, calcium, things like that before bed that are also going to just help to keep you a little bit more regular. Making sure that you're incorporating more fiber into the diet too. Fiber is a huge part of intestinal mobility. Again, it's feeding the good bacteria in the gut. So, we probably don't eat enough fiber during the holidays. And that's something to just keep in mind as well. So, when in between your parties and, whatever you've got going on, you can take a prebiotic supplement. So prebiotic is a type of fiber. That's something that, if it's a little bit harder for you to kind of clean up the diet in between your meals, you can opt for taking a prebiotic fiber supplement as well.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so real quick, back to that ZenWise, you said it has a probiotic in it. So should you be taking an additional probiotic, or is that enough in there if you take this ZenWise to cover it?
And it really kind of depends on where you're at with the gut. If your gut is severely compromised, you might want to bring in an additional, probiotic supplement. If you are pretty good, where you're at, and you just need a little digestive support, then that would be sufficient. So you just kind of have to gauge on how you're feeling. If you already are eating really well and you don't really have as many issues, you can stick with that. If you're really looking to get into like more of a gut healing protocol, you might add in a probiotic on top of that.
So how important is it for everybody to be taking a daily probiotic, some sort of probiotic?
I think it's important, but I don't think it's just the probiotic itself. So it's that probiotic in combination with, taking a digestive enzyme and making sure you're getting enough fiber or prebiotic fiber into the diet. So it's never just that one thing. And a lot of people will say, I took a probiotic and it didn't do anything for me. So there's a lot that goes into that. There's different kinds of probiotic, and they don't all work well for everybody. Also, if the gut is compromised, sometimes probiotics can have adverse reactions. And another thing you want to look at is, are you properly digesting your foods? And then what's all going on in the gut? If you don't have enough food for that beneficial bacteria, then that bacteria is really not going to do anything. So you take a probiotic all day long and you just go hit at McDonald's every day, it's really not going to do anything. So, you kind of have to juggle a few different things around. It's usually this all-encompassing approach when you think about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So how many bowel movements should somebody be having per day?
At least one, and generally no more than three.
Could you imagine shitting 3 times a day?
It's different for everybody, but definitely at least one. And it's crazy too. It's good to talk about because I have a lot of clients that are like, oh, I'm totally normal. And I'm like, okay, what's normal for you? And it's like twice a week. So no, you need to at least have, these are toxins that your body is excreting out. So if you're not getting rid of these things, then you're getting all that stuff building up back into the body.
Yeah, I have an aunt. I'm not going to obviously release which one it is, but she was telling me, she goes, oh, I'm so regular. She was like, I fill the whole toilet bowl in the morning. I'm like, all right, TMI, but whatever she's taking is obviously working.
Sure. And it can be the opposite effect though, too. You can be too regular. So that's another issue as well, that if you are going to the bathroom all the time, again, more than 3 times a day, then that's an issue as well, that your body's not really absorbing all those nutrients, and that's important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Have you seen this thing on social media? By the way, it keeps popping up on my social media. It's called colon bloom.
No.
So it's this like powder. It almost looks like a protein powder shake, right? It's like a shake. And people are like, oh, I started drinking this pooping shake and I lost 25 pounds. But I'm like, what is in this thing? Like, it doesn't seem like it could be that healthy. These people are losing a ton of weight.
Oh, I'm sure. And I'd have to check the ingredients and know a little bit more about that. That's a problem with a lot of cleanses, is that you're also, getting rid of the good and the bad bacteria and getting rid of a lot of that flora in the gut. So you just have to be really careful about stuff like that. While it might seem like a good idea, you don't want to be completely flushing the whole GI tract out with all the good bacteria as well.
Right. No, absolutely. So if somebody is doing like a juice cleanse just to kind of maybe try to lose some weight for an upcoming appearance or something like that,
right?
Is it a smart idea for them to like maybe double their probiotic intake?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, for sure. And especially if you're doing like colon cleanses as well, you really want to make sure that you're putting that good bacteria back in there. And again, it goes back to a lot of the diet as well. So, taking a probiotic supplement, but also, you can get probiotics as a food approach too, like sauerkraut, kimchi, some kombuchas are really great. Kombucha, you just really want to check the label because a lot of them have high sugar content. So you just want to be mindful about that. But basically, those fermented foods really help to, again, populate the gut. But as you eat them, it's kind of populating your entire GI tract with that beneficial bacteria. Because keep in mind, you also have a microbiome in your mouth. Your microbiome in your mouth is most closely related to your gut. So your oral health is just as important as the health of the gut. So chewing like digestive enzymes and sauerkraut, kimchi, fermented foods can also help to digest your foods a little bit better and work on that oral microbiome.
So interesting. So there was a question. So what is your opinion on like enemas and colonics? Is that
so that's the same thing? Yeah, it can be. It's not always a good approach. Again, that's one of those things where you have to be really careful that you are repopulating the gut with that good bacteria, because again, it's going to clean everything out. So it can be really great. The times that I recommend it are for people if they're detoxing or doing like a detox protocol. Maybe they're doing like a liver detox. And so it's helpful to kind of just making sure you're really cleansing the body of all of those toxins. I wouldn't recommend it a lot. So maybe once, no more than twice a year, if you wanted to do like spring and fall type thing. But you just really need to be careful with that. So it's not too much, and that you are, again, making sure to populate the gut with that good flora.
Yeah, I don't know why this just popped into my head. I'm like, yeah, clean out your closet, clean out your ass. It's a great time.
Yeah, right. There you go. Just clean out everything. Get it all done at once.
Okay. So another thing is I've been chewing a lot of gum. I like gum. It's my thing. But does gum have a negative effect on, because you're kind of breathing in all this or swallowing all this air on your gut?
Yes. And, we can talk about, again, that goes back to that oral microbiome. So, a lot of times that you're killing that good bacteria that's in the mouth. So they do have some better quality gum that's on the market. And that's fine. I wouldn't say that never to do it, because I'm a gum chewer as well, but it's just something to kind of be mindful about, that you don't want to cleanse the good bacteria in the mouth as well.
Interesting. Okay. So what are some quick kind of tips for myself and the listeners if they're like, okay, I need something easy that's going to start, like kind of like just like go down a list of like how to heal your gut. Like obviously the digestive enzymes.
Yes. Yep.
So
that would be the first one, taking an enzyme with your meals. And that one I love is by the company called ZenWise. So taking digestive enzyme, that's going to help you break down your foods a little bit better. Incorporating bone broth, it's one of my favorite things to do. It's really helpful in just kind of healing the gut lining, but also reducing inflammation and easing digestive discomfort. So during the holidays, especially in between some of your parties, sipping on broth throughout the day can be extremely helpful, but also incorporating it into all of your recipes. So, making like a blended soup with it. Blended soups too are really great for the gut. They're pre-digested, so they're cooked and then they're blended together. It's kind of like a little vacation for the gut. So in between those holiday parties, giving your gut a little bit of a break, to easier to digest foods. Also, cooked meats and veggies are a lot easier on the gut to digest. So that can be something to kind of incorporate as well. But broth, really you're extracting those proteins, the cartilage, collagen, connective tissue, all of those things that are going to be helpful in healing the gut lining, but also kind of reducing inflammation to the whole GI tract. So adding in broth is great. Taking a probiotic supplement, making sure that you're populating the gut with good bacteria. In addition to that probiotic, you can eat some of those fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, and maybe sip on some kombucha. Again, just being mindful of the sugar content with that. And then incorporating more fiber into your diet is key. That fiber really helps to feed the good bacteria in the gut. So definitely fruits and vegetables, high fiber rich foods, resistant starches. Basically, they're just resistant to digestion. They break down in the large intestine by becoming food for the good bacteria. Those are foods like potatoes. That's a great source of resistant starch, and winter squashes as well. So those foods are great to incorporate, but also you can even just take a prebiotic supplement, and that can be helpful as well. Or psyllium husk. That's always a really great option.
What is it called?
Psyllium husk.
What is that?
It's just the husk of the corn. So that's, it's just really high in fiber. So it's like, basically Metamucil is made from that.
So you take the corn husk, you peel the corn kernels off, and then
you don't do it. You buy it in
a
powder form. Yeah. You're like, that's way too much work for me.
I'm like, what? What kind of machine did she think I'm running over here? I'm like, oh yeah, welcome to my manufacturing facility.
Yeah, I know. Just as we started, you're like, make this easy for me. And here I am telling you to go shuck corn husks. No. It's, you buy it in a powder form. So it's prebiotic. It's a prebiotic psyllium husk. And you just can sprinkle a little bit on your food. But you can buy prebiotic supplements, but that's just another easy thing to do. And it's less expensive, and you can generally buy it in bulk as well. So that fiber, again, just, overall fiber is key for that. And then the last thing I would say is just making sure you're really managing your stress levels over the holidays, because stress is just as damaging on the gut as junk food. And that's clinical research that states that.
Wow.
So, yes. So making sure that, you're taking some time out for you. The holidays are a very stressful time. We all think it's like this jolly time of year, but there's so much going on, and there's, a lot of stress from families and work and deadlines. And, this is one of the most stressful times of the year. So just making sure that you're not forgetting about yourself. You're taking time out for you, getting good quality sleep. That's key. Doing Epsom salt baths, or going out for a walk, things that kind of ground yourself, because that stress plays a really important role in the gut as well.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's good. So it's kind of like breathing exercises. Epsom salts, what does that do for stress?
So those Epsom salts it's great for hydration, because you're going to absorb a lot of those minerals through the skin. But that's the salt that you would put in like a bath, or you could do it in a foot soak. But it just really helps to calm the body down. Again, you're really absorbing some of those minerals that are calming for the body. It's de-stressing, but also good to kind of replenish a lot of those nutrients as well.
Interesting. And I like that you said the foot soak, because I don't know I don't know many people that have a bath anymore. I feel like nobody has a bathtub.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird. It's one of those things where it's like, you have a bathtub? I feel like everybody's ripping out their bathtubs and putting in just walk-in showers. Like, I don't know many people that have bathtubs.
Well, and foot soaks are also just as beneficial. Yes. And also, your feet have, if you look at like reflexology, there's a lot of different points on the feet that correlate to different points on the body. You can extract a lot of toxins out through your feet. So just doing a simple foot soak can, be even just as beneficial as a whole Epsom salt soak.
Yeah. And it seems so much easier to do. And then how much salt do you put in the foot soak?
I would just do, if it's just for the feet, you can do like a half a cup or something like that. So you don't need a lot. You could even add in like baking soda in there and a little apple cider vinegar. Again, those are going to help to kind of extract some of the toxins as well.
And how long do you soak?
I would do like 30 minutes, 45 minutes or so. I mean, if it's a foot soak, you can just like leave it on the floor while you're working or something like that, maybe like watching TV. So something where you can kind of just relax and chill out.
Interesting. Okay, that's a good tip. I like that. And speaking of apple cider vinegar, you hear a lot of positive things about this. People are told like, oh, you should take like a teaspoon or whatever of it, but you have to be careful. I used to do this, but you have to be careful because it's so acidic that it can like eat away at your enamel. So it's kind of like you don't want it to hit your teeth. I used to put it into a coconut water.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah.
Down it on the way to a meeting or something. And then somehow I just stopped doing it. But that's really good for like everything, right?
It is. I'm a huge fan of apple cider vinegar, but you're right. It definitely has a downside. So that's kind of one of those things where maybe you take it for a little while and then you stop, and then you can always bring it back in. A couple tricks to that too. You can put it in a little drink and then sip on it through a straw, so it doesn't necessarily hit your teeth. There are apple cider vinegar supplements now that you can take, so that can help to kind of reduce some of those side effects, although I don't know how effective they are. I mean, some people have really good feedback with them, some people not. So I haven't personally tried it, but I always just like it straight from the source. And again, you can just kind of put that in anything, do it with a straw, and that way it doesn't even bother the teeth.
Oh, good call. And then what are your thoughts on starting your day with warm water and lemon?
I do that myself. I love that, but I don't necessarily know if it's like a game changer necessarily in your health, but I do feel like that is a really good way to kind of just like cleanse the body in the morning, and get a little hydration in there as well. So yes, I'm a fan of that.
And so do you do like a lemon wedge, or do you do like half? Because my friend was like, oh, I do a half a lemon. And I'm like, that could get expensive.
I do the full lemon. So I just have like lemon juice, and I just squeeze that in there and put a little hot water in there, and good to go.
Yeah, you got to get yourself a lemon tree at your house.
Right? Well, it's in Florida, so we have a lot of them.
Yeah, there you go, right? You're like, the citrus, I don't pay for any of that. So what are some other things you can do to manage your stress levels besides getting good sleep and Epsom salts?
Sure. So meditation is key. And so a lot of people think that, overcomplicate meditation, that, okay, I don't have a great place to do it, or, I need a lot of time, but it can just be as simple as sitting there and counting your inhalations and your exhalations. So, maybe you start
Yes.
out by breathing in for 4 counts, breathing out for 5 counts, breathing in for 5 counts, breathing out for 6 counts, just something like increasing your inhales and your exhales each time. Breathing it's a easy thing to do. We all do it. You could do it in the car. You can do it at your desk. Just taking a few moments to sit there and pause, that can be a meditation. So
I
that's
actually
something.
wrote about that on my book because I would get very
perfect.
frustrated when people say you have to meditate. I would just be like, go fuck yourself. I couldn't do it. I was like, this doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And then I finally started breathing in for 8, holding for 8, and then breathing out.
Yes.
And like, that's just as effective. And you can take it.
It is.
I feel like this is good because you can do meditation while you're taking care of your gut, aka on the toilet.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. That's perfect.
You have to read my book. I put in there a whole thing about like all the beneficial things you could do while going to the bathroom.
Oh my gosh, that's perfect. I'm going to read that. I love that. I'll share that with all my clients. I'm sure they'll be thrilled. I love that.
They'll be like, what? This girl does a lot of stuff on the toilet. Like,
you can get a lot accomplished.
You can, but I always say don't bring your phone because it's gross. Like, that's why I don't touch any of my male friends' phones.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
It's the grossest place ever because they all bring it to the bathroom and then they wipe their butt and then they touch their phone before they go to the.
So true. It's true. I know. It's
so
people don't think about it, but it's important.
Yeah. Like, do not take your phone to the bathroom. If you need your phone, if you're taking that long that you feel you need your phone on the toilet, you need more.
You have bigger problems. Yeah, exactly.
It's so true. It's like, I know it's always the worst though, for some like when you travel, and I've been traveling a lot and like in different environments, how your body just totally kind of changes. The water changes, the food changes. And I think that's probably it. But like people that are dating that aren't married, right? Like that's another thing. Like if you don't, the last thing you want to do is poop at a person's house.
It's the hardest thing, but you take some more of the fiber and you'll be good.
Oh, so it's just quick.
Yeah,
that's true. Quick and painless.
Get it over and done.
Yeah, bring a match, light a match, and you'll be good. You'll be good to go. Wait, so when should you be alarmed? Let's talk about poop size. We're gonna go there. We might as well. Like, when should you be like, I need to detox? Like, what are the different shapes that are healthy or like red flags?
Well, definitely, I think frequency is number 1. So if you are not going at least once a day, that's something to be concerned about. If you're going more than 3 times a day, that's also something to be concerned about. If it's not like well formed and it's just running out of you, that's something to be concerned about. A lot of times, especially like the timing of when you go, if it's immediately always after you eat, that's something to be concerned about. So, you definitely, if you're straining, if there are different shapes, floating too is another thing to talk about. Like that could be a sign that you're not digesting your fats properly. So again, digestive enzymes are really helpful for that as well. Yeah. So, it's definitely, but this is a topic that's important to talk about because I think people, again, think that what they have is normal. It's normal for you because that happens all the time. That's not necessarily normal as it relates to what constitutes a healthy gut.
Yeah. And the fact that pretty much all disease starts in the gut, it's like so important that people know these things. But yeah, that's interesting. Like the sink or the swim thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you don't want them,
so you don't want them swimming. You don't want them leaving the premise.
No.
Okay. Well, that's good. I used to think that it was like, if you don't have enough fiber, it'll sink to the bottom, but that's not right.
Well, I mean, I guess that could be a thing, but, mainly if they're light or clay colored stools and that they are floating, like that can be a sign that you're not properly digesting your fats. So that's really important. And if that's the case, and some other things that you might, feel if that's the case, that you don't feel well if you eat fattier foods or maybe meat, like a loss of taste of meat, or if you don't digest meat well. So those can all kind of be signs altogether that maybe you're liver, gallbladder issues, or you're not digesting your fats. You might need to take an enzyme to help. Beet juice and beets are really helpful for that. That also helps to kind of break bile down a little bit better and support the liver and gallbladder and get things moving.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. And just warning, if you guys start doing beets and your stools are red, you're not dying.
Yeah, exactly. It'll change the color for sure.
I know it's crazy. What is it that's in asparagus that makes people's pee smell?
I don't know. But asparagus, so you brought that up, that's also a good prebiotic fiber. So asparagus can be another thing. So in addition to like those resistant starches, winter squashes and potatoes, asparagus are another really great form of that resistance, or not necessarily resistant starch, but prebiotic fiber that's good to feed the good bacteria in the gut.
Interesting. Okay, perfect. So just don't eat asparagus before you go to somebody's house for a party.
Yeah, exactly. I did hear that not everybody has that issue with them. So
really?
It just depends on the body. Yeah, it depends on it's like a chemical reaction in the body or something like that. I read once that not everybody experiences that.
It's like the cilantro, how some people are like, it's soap. I'm like, what are you
talking about? Yes, right? I'm glad I don't have that because I love cilantro.
Yeah, and cilantro has a lot of health benefits, right?
It does, yes. It's great for detoxing. So it's really great, yes.
Okay.
Do like a cilantro tea.
Interesting. Okay, speaking of teas, what are the best teas to drink?
So if you have digestive discomfort or, bloating, ginger tea is one of my favorite things. You can buy the ginger tea, or you can just cut up pieces of ginger, throw that in hot water. You can even put a little lemon and honey in there. That's delicious. Chamomile tea is also very soothing for the gut, as well as mint tea. So those are probably my 3 favorite things to help ease digestive discomfort.
Okay. And how much coffee is too much coffee?
Oh, that's a good question. So, coffee, I get this a lot, is coffee bad for the gut and should I cut out my coffee? Not necessarily, one, you want to just make sure that you're getting a good quality coffee. So coffee can be full of a lot of toxins. So you want to make sure that if you're drinking coffee, to opt for more of an organic kind. And then, I just say about like 1 to 2 cups in the morning is fine, as long as you're not reaching for coffee, in the afternoon all day to, keep your energy levels up. And the only reason I say that is just because then there's bigger issues that you want to make sure of figuring out why your energy levels are off. What is it that your body really needs? But I think it's fine if you're on a gut healing protocol. Coffee can be compromising, but again, it goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning. You have to kind of be your own guinea pig and kind of see how things work for yourself.
Okay, perfect. And do you have any organic coffees that you would recommend?
I'm a fan of Whole Foods' brand, the Allegra kind. I really like their coffee. That's one of my favorite ones. But there's some really great brands out there and smaller brands that are doing awesome things. So just kind of check the labels, make sure it's, fair trade, organic, good quality coffee, and it should be good.
So my Dunkin' Donuts isn't cutting it?
Well, again, the gut can handle moderation too. So I never like to put anything in like the absolute no category. So just kind of, we go outside and we breathe the air, which is probably just as like damaging for ourselves. So just making sure that you're mindful of what you're doing. And again, kind of finding ways to lessen some of the side effects of some of the other things and have moderation into your diet. It's never going to be perfect, but as long as you can kind of do the best that you can and you're aware of the choices you're making, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Cause I have a $100 gift card that somebody gave me. And I'm like,
that's Starbucks. That's not Dunkin'.
No, I know, but Starbucks is just as crappy. I like Dunkin' better. Like,
yeah, you're a Dunkin' fan?
I'm like $100. I feel like I'm just going to grab all the homeless people outside the Starbucks and be like, on me guys, let's go.
Oh my God.
Maybe I'll try one of those pumpkin spice lattes everybody's raving about. But
Yeah.
I'm like,
Treat yourself.
that's a whole meal.
It is. And they're too sweet. If you're not used to drinking sweet things, then when you drink those, it's like crazy. But
yeah,
it's a treat for once in a while, I guess. So
that's true. Maybe I'll treat myself. Yeah, somebody gave this to me, and I don't mind Starbucks, but like I've been drinking coffee like here in the morning before I like go out. So
right.
I'm like, it's weird. Once you have the money, you stop going to the store.
Yeah.
Like I just don't go there anymore.
Yeah,
weird.
I hear you. Yeah. Well,
so if anyone needs a
come in
coffee,
handy. There
let
you
me
go.
know. I'm sure I'll use it that when I'm
set.
back in Denver because I like to just whip through the drive-through and.
Oh yes, it's convenient
but here
then.
I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. This has been amazing. Okay, so tell people where they can find you, like social media, your website, contact you if they need more information, hire you, whatever, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So my website is just fairygutmother.com, and then at social media is just at Fairy Gutmother.
Okay, perfect. She is the Fairy Gutmother. That's what we were talking about today. So hopefully everybody has the quick tips and tricks. I would encourage everybody, I guess the first thing is probably make sure you're taking a probiotic. I had been bad about that and had not been taking a probiotic. I obviously am obsessed with NAC. I recently put out that video.
Yeah, I saw that. That's awesome.
Oh, that's the best thing ever. But I do need to be as passionate about a probiotic, which is probably why somebody thought I was pregnant.
And then enzymes and your digestive enzymes.
Yeah. So I'm going to go run and I'm going to go get those. But yeah, so everybody, like, it's never too early to start taking care of this. You don't need to wait to the new year. If you want to do what's best for you. But not me, because I want to wear those like dresses that make me look like a hoe for like New Year's, and I want to have a flat stomach. So I am running to the store to make sure I get these.
Yes. Smart.
Well, thank you so much for coming back
Thank you
on
for
the show.
having me.
It's been like 2 years, so this is fantastic.
Which is crazy. Yes.
Yeah, time is flying. And thanks for everybody that's listening. Appreciate you so much. Couldn't do it without you. And we will see you next time to find out who's next.
Hey, your host here, Madison Malloy. Please make sure to subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms, and please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. Also, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@nexttomadison.com. I thank you again for listening. Bye.